let's look at the solar system. We got to memorize all the things in the solar system, starting with the sun, which is really a
star. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune.
And again.
Sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune.
Very good. And you have your own little chart that we did, a worksheet, so you can study these on your own, or you can use your book and look in your book and study them on your own. All right, let's look at page 148. All right. Start with the terms to remember. Quarter moon, when only half of the moon is visible. Crescent moon, when only less than half of the moon is visible. Keep going.
Full moon, when all of the moon is visible. New moon,
When the moon is not visible at all. Ocean tides, movement of the oceans caused by the moon's gravity. All right. Now, it says quarter moon, and it says when only half of the moon is visible. If you know quarter, quarter means to divide something in fours, right? So why does it make sense to say that a quarter moon is when half of the moon is visible? Jonathan?
Again,
All right, well, you raised your hand, Ben.
because you can't really see the back of the moon because that's
Right.
so dark.
Remember, the moon is a sphere. So you never can see half of the moon because it's on the back of the sphere. So you're only seeing half of the moon. So when you see half of the front of the moon, you are only seeing 1/4 of the moon. Think of an orange. All right, so if you're looking at the orange, can you see the back side of the orange?
No.
No, you can only see the front of the orange, so you're only seeing half of the orange.
And the full moon's like
So whenever you see the whole moon, you are really only seeing half of the moon when you're seeing a full moon, right? Because you can't see the back of the moon. Sorry, not right now. All right, let's read about the moon's phases. Let's get to our seat quickly, please. The moon's phases. As the earth orbits the sun, the moon orbits earth. It takes the moon about a month to orbit earth. Remember, that's what I told you when I said we were going to do the moon phases paper. It actually takes, it says about a month because it takes 28 days. There's only 1 month that has 28 days.
in February.
Yeah, that's February. The moon is always round, but it does not always look like it. This happens because of the moon's position in its orbit of Earth. Each position gives the moon different appearances called phases. Sometimes you can only see half of the moon. We call this phase a quarter moon. If only a tiny part of the moon is visible, we call it a crescent moon. There are other phases of the moon. You can see all of the moon when Earth is between the sun and the moon in its orbit. We call this phase a full moon. Sometimes you cannot see the moon at all, even on a clear night. This phase is called a new moon because it is the first kind of moon in the moon cycle. Okay? So the new moon is when the earth is completely blocking the moon from getting any reflection from the sun. So you don't see it. Okay? And then a crescent moon, you can see that's called a waxing moon because it's getting bigger. Okay? It was a new moon, no moon at all that you could see, and then it gradually starts to get bigger. So that's called a waxing moon. And crescent is when you can only see a sliver of it. Does everybody see that in the bottom? And then they show you the quarter moon where you can see half of the front of the moon. So you're seeing 1/4 of the moon or a quarter of it. All right? Then they show it getting slightly bigger, but it's still not full.
What is a
I really wish you would actually look at your book. You definitely don't look like you're paying attention to me at all. And then you see the full moon, where you can see the whole entire moon, and then it becomes a waning moon because now it is getting smaller. All right? So first of all, you can see about 3/4 of it, and then you see half of it again, so that's a quarter moon again, and then you see another crescent moon, but notice the crescent is on the other side this time. Right? So starting on November 30th, when we begin our first distance learning day, you're going to start with Monday the 30th, and you're going to put in what kind of moon? Full moon. So I told you that is the full moon. So we're going to start with Monday, November 30th with a full moon, and then you're going to do the full 28-day cycle until you get to the next full moon, and then you will turn in this phases of the moon paper. Make sure you put the date. So under Monday the 30th, and then the next one was going to be the first, because it would be December 1st, and then the second and third, on and on and on, until you have all the way to the next full moon. So I could look it up, it's December something, but you will not turn these in until after Christmas break, because it will take you that long to finish doing it. And it does not matter if you can see it at night, even if it's raining, remember I said you still need to figure out by looking it up online, what phase of the moon would it have been if you could have seen it. Alright, let's start at the top of the next page. Actually, we're not starting there. That's talking about that worksheet that I just told you about. The moon's gravity. The moon has much less gravity than the Earth does because it is smaller. That means things weigh less there. That is why astronauts who have traveled there seem to bounce as they walked on it. How does the moon's gravity affect our ocean? The moon has just enough gravity to pull the ocean to itself. This is what makes our ocean tides. Maybe you have watched the tide coming into shore. This is called high tide. Low tide is when the water is pulled back to the sea. The tides circulate the water in the ocean. This water movement helps all the animals that live in the ocean. All right, so they, in that picture, they are showing you the same place, but they're showing it at high tide, and they're showing it at low tide. So you see at high tide, the water goes all the way out to those rocks. Please look at your book and pay attention. And at low tide, you could actually walk out to those rocks and walk between that little, looks like a doorway there, couldn't you? All right, that's all we need to do for today. That's where we'll stop.